Hi, hi, hi. Whoever is new to the channel, remember this is entertainment. I literally just need to reach 1,000 videos. The more subscribers, though, and the more comments, the more, how do you say it? The more inspiration I have to think differently or see the world differently or kind of like approach thoughts and cement them differently. So let this be fun. Let this be a lot of us kind of like just figuring out if we can build a certain train of thought that makes sense to our own view of this world, and naturally kick the algorithm's ass and like build something beyond what we could actually like see right now. This video is a video I've been wanting to do for the past 2 weeks, and it's titled in the blue, La La Land versus reality. La La Land, my people, and I've mentioned this twice, but this time it's a full video on it. I was talking to a chick and she was explaining to me, she was looking at me, she was like, how could you have conversations about anything? And I was like, because like at one point I decided that it's okay to have an opinion. Well, anytime you have an opinion, it's not like something stable. It's like okay, I have an opinion on this. How would my opinion look like? And why would I have it? And then, maybe I have it because this is what I know. And then I read something, I research something. Most of the time I just Google stuff directly, right? And it's fun because like when you're Googling something intentionally, 5 minutes of Googling is better than like 2, 3 days of unintentional work. So over a course of time, everything becomes a bit more interesting. Why? Because everything around us encapsulates different things and they're connected. Everything is fucking connected beautifully. And the beauty of the world is not centralized. Well, it is centralized, like planet Earth is the centralized structure, maybe. But it's actually decentralized. Like everything shares attributes from almost everything else, and they built themselves based on those attributes. So there are like key features for life, maybe, if you want to look at it that way. Scientifically, they're probably the atoms, but even in behavior, in growth, in life, in energy, all that stuff, we all share like similar formulas, maybe we can say that, whatever it is. But she was asking me how could you like, and I literally looked at her and I was like explaining it to her, like, and I just kind of have to like think of something. But like the problem is we don't really know how to think because if things keep going in our head, we don't really process them. So what I do is I write like notes, and eventually I started writing notes, and the more interesting notes became, I actually would discuss them with myself. And I started with a small book like this, and I started basically writing notes. And eventually I started realizing like some notes would take 3, 4 pages because I really get into them. So I got like a bigger copybook, and eventually it became a habit of mine. And at one point I realized I wanted to start writing more about my thoughts, and that just happened naturally. And after that, I basically started writing notes for the sake of videos, like splitting my thoughts. And let's just say I became better at engaging with my thoughts to a point where I actually have something that I want to let out in order to like test it in the real world and see how reality reflects on it. But why the title of this video, La La Land versus reality, is because I asked her to write exactly what she was thinking of, or at the very least, like the title of what she was thinking of, and she couldn't do it. And I came back 3 weeks later and she just couldn't do it. And I was like, why couldn't she do it? She goes like, resistance, fear, I can't, I know, I don't know. And all these things start happening. But ultimately she said something. She's like, I'm stuck in La La Land. I was like, no, you're not. And you're stuck in your own reality. La La Land is the shared life that we all have. And she was like, what? I'm like, if you imagine your reality, it makes sense to you. It doesn't make sense to anyone else. So that's not La La Land. That's reality. In your head is where you truly live and exist. In the outside world, though, that's the fantasy realm. That's where people dance like crazy to music. People go to work from 8 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock in the afternoon and then judge you because they whatever they're doing is the right thing to do. Outside is where people create wars when there's absolutely no. I don't get it, man. I really don't get it. Just well, human nature is fascinating. It's like the nature of humans, not humans' nature. It's the nature of us as primates or as whatever primitive form we are in the body. is actually very much like that. But like for me, and I explained it to her over a course of like 15 minutes, like, you know, what me and her were sharing, what me and her were engaging with, was truthfully La La Land, a place where people go have some tea and read books in the middle of a tea house. La La Land. It's literally like all stories that describe life. They kind of describe them with everyone else around them, but nobody describes life as it is in their own head, in their own reality. It's not the true form of how they see the world. And so it's funny because the minute I said that and I explained it, I realized how maybe profound that could be. Because if I were to look at what when people say bringing your vision to life, or manifesting, or creating, any of that, effectively, whatever I'm creating exists in my reality. And as I process my efforts into La La Land, which is the real world, society, nature, the animals, wildlife, all of that, what effectively I'll be doing is I'll be translating my reality to the world. So when we're stuck, it's because we can't really express our reality out of maybe fear of La La Land, out of kind of like a misunderstanding, because I really looked at it as a misunderstanding. And I never looked at it that way until she mentioned it, because really, man, La La Land is our world right now. Every single thing that people do when it doesn't come to themselves is really something beyond what we could see as the truth, the reality. It's true to them, probably, but it's not really true to us. So to us, whatever they're doing, they seem to kind of like be operating in La La Land, while we are operating within the realm of reality. So the shared space, the shared communion, maybe, which is our world, is this like magical realm where each one of us gets to kind of like actively pursue the things they want. They have the energy, they have the time, they have the day, they have the ability, they have the power, the mental power, the capacity. You can build it, you can shrink it, you can do all kinds of things. And this fantasy world is the tangible world that we live in. I don't know, I feel like this is kind of like, it gives you a certain shift in your vision. It allows what you're creating or what you want to express to the world in your head to become a lot more tangible. Because ultimately in La La Land, everything changes all the fucking time. It's the law of the universe. The universe is change. What Marcus Aurelius says, life is an opinion. And it's funny because like I wrote this note like 2 weeks ago, but I read his quote last week. And I read this his quote on like one of those days where it was like most needed. So La La Land is consistent change, and you kind of have to keep at it in order for it to like, in order for your reality to always exist. You always have to be active to for your existence in La La Land to like sustain itself. And we can use as an example like the most important people in the world. The minute they're no longer in their position, they're no longer important. Why? Because like they're no longer active and as a leading role in La La Land. Be it actors, be it musicians, be it politicians, be it entrepreneurs. It's all about how they're trying to express themselves. And some people are very much legendary, and 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 years into the future, we probably will still talk about them. They have found a way to like solidify their existence in this La La Land for people to kind of like learn from, understand from, follow, or utilize, right? Like, Pythagoras didn't give a fuck about anyone, but like he's the reason why we have music now. He's the originator of music theory, and he's the guy who kind of like discovered the essentials and fundamentals of math. And the guy literally just brought his reality to life and expressed his reality through like math and all that kind of stuff. Other people like artists go back, Van Gogh, maybe musicians, maybe philosophers, people that changed the world. Lao Tzu, for example, uh, from the Tao Te Ching, just random dude who once asked by some guy, he was like, what would you advise the younger people? And in one setting, he basically spoke the 81 analects of the Tao Te Ching, which is fundamental to Taoism. And it is just that reverse of reality that we all share doesn't make sense anymore, since everyone is looking at what we're seeing. And whatever I'm looking at, everyone's looking at it differently. So in my head is the true reality. And for some reason, we don't want to express it, or we find that we want to escape it. And the minute we find that we want to escape reality, what happens is reality holds us down. Instead of us trying to let reality kind of like come out, or for us to alter it and see how we can like work with it better, we kind of get stuck. And I think that's what people call the comfort zone, or the dark side of your existence. Fucking La La Land, man. Who would have thought? I don't know if this video made sense, man, but it's a video.